Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the RCR ATX Lunch and Lounge session. I'm super pleased. This is our first Lunch and Lounge session. My name is Chris Martin, and I'm delighted to have with us as our first artist on the Lunch and Lounge, Phoebe Hunt. We've got a lot to talk about, and a lot to talk about our relationship. In addition to where she's from and where she's going and all sorts of things. But I'll get out of the way and let her kick it off with one of her songs. So take it away, Phoebe.
All right, thanks, Chris. This is called Good Blood. Like, not bad blood. You know the Romeo and Juliet story? They have bad blood. I just want to have good blood with you. Take away the pain I'm going through. You can't make me dance and I won't sing to prove to you my soul is clean. I just want to have good blood with you. Lately I've been feeling wrong and tired, thinking of the days we were on fire. But I won't beg and I won't plead, and you won't see me on my knees. I just want to have good blood with you. I just want to have good blood with you. Take away the pain I'm going through. Can't make me dance and I won't sing to prove to you my soul is clean. But I just want to have good blood with you. And lately I've been feeling run around, lost up in the clouds, I hit the ground. But I won't beg and I won't plead, and you won't see me on my knees. I just want to have good blood with you. This is all I ask of you. After all that we've been through. I just want to have good blood with you. And take away the pain I'm going through. You can't make me dance and I won't sing to prove to you my soul is clean. But I just want to have good blood with you. You want to sing it with me? 2, 3. I just want to have good blood with you. Take away the pain I'm going through. Soul is clean, but I just want to have good blood with you. Thank y'all.
Super. What a great way to start. What a great way to start on an unseasonably or unexpected rainy day here in Austin, Texas.
I got my dress all riddled.
I know. I'm sorry about that. It's so pretty, and yeah, it was raining a little bit on the way in from the car. So this is part of the RCR ATX Lunch and Lounge series. You're our first guest. What we exist for is to service the wireless community, and so it seems to me like an artist like you relies on wireless to kind of stay connected. Tell me about, what's your phone? How much are you on it? What do you use it for? How does it play a part in your life?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely one of the iPhoners. I got hooked on the iPhone a couple years ago, and it's like a vein you can't stop tapping, because basically Yeah, it's what allows me to be off the grid and on the grid at the same time, because I really like to be just anywhere. I'm always traveling and getting to kind of float around and be this little fiddle thing that shows up in different places, like, hey, now I'm in New York. Hey, now I'm in LA. My sister lives in LA, and my mom lives in New York, and I actually have an apartment in Brooklyn, and I stay in Austin too, and I have friends here, and I'm in Colorado some. My fiance is from Colorado, and I'm just always bouncing around, and I guess that's just what happens in this day and age, and we're really lucky. And because of having a cell phone and the wireless connection all the time, I even have a hotspot on my phone, so I can even do business from the van, you know? So I'm just always on it. I really rely on it heavily, and sometimes I wish I didn't rely on it so heavily and I was able to completely unplug, and sometimes I make myself completely unplug just for a week because I go crazy if I don't, but it's what allows me to live my life this way. I mean, I think it's what allows a lot of people to live their lives this way. Everyone's traveling more these days, and it's pretty cool. We're lucky to live in this age.
Great. Well, thank you. So I don't want to do too much yakking in between your great music, so why don't you tee up another song, tell us what you're going to play, and maybe give us a little bit of background, where it came from, what it's about.
Okay. Y'all into sentimental or more like moody?
We're not afraid to feel.
Okay.
You
Well,
know,
I'll
I'm a snag myself. You know what a snag is?
What's that?
I'm a sensitive new age guy. So I can get down. I can get into my heart space with you. So.
Oh, let's go to our heart spaces. I'll tell you, actually, this one's a heart space, but in a light way. It's kind of a flirty number, if you will. I was at a fiddle camp. No, I've been to fiddle camps, and I'm going to one soon. But I was at a songwriting camp. And so this is like that story of one time at songwriting camp, there was a cute boy.
It doesn't involve a clarinet, obviously.
Just a fiddle. And it was a boy who had been heartbroken recently by a girl named Julia, who was moved to Argentina. They had been together for like 6 years, first of all. And then she had moved to Argentina for 6 months to just explore things. And she had just called him like a week before the songwriting camp to tell him that she was not coming back. She was like, I think I'm going to stay another 6 months, and I don't know how long I'm going to stay, and I'm loving it here. And so he was like crushed. And what happened was there's a lot of chicks at songwriting camp. So everyone was hearing all about Julia, but also kind of like being flirted with at the same time, because he was, you know what I mean, in that place of he didn't know what to do. So he looked at me. He was vulnerable and open.
I hear you, sister.
And he said, you know, I think you've broken more hearts than you'll ever know. And something in me shivered, something touched my soul. And then he sat beside me as we watched the picture show. This boy is on a roll, but it's not right, because he wishes I were Julia tonight. And then he asked if I would walk with him to grab a bite. I said, I've got a lot of work to do. Let's say goodnight. And I could see there was a spark he wanted me to light that I will not ignite. It isn't right, because he wishes I were Julia tonight. And I know that he treats her like a queen, 'cause it shows in the way he's treating me. And I hope he doesn't make a move. Now what a good man she would lose. but still he wishes I were Julia tonight. And yes, I think he's handsome, charming, sweet, and kind. And sure, he's been a thought I can't get off my mind.
Uh-oh.
But when the week is over and we say adieu, you'll still think about how she will run to you, and you will want to tell her all the ways that you've been true. But will she hold you tight when I am out of sight? That's why you wish that I were Julia tonight. But no, I just can't be your Julia tonight.
Let's give it up for Phoebe Hunt. What a great, great song. Wow, that was terrific. So now I think maybe an appropriate segue might be our relationship.
Oh.
This will surprise my wife. No, it won't. But we were in the process of looking for acts to kick off this lunch and lounge session here at RCR ATX. And I was fortunate enough to see Phoebe and her sister play at Stubbs, opening up for Shaky Graves. And it was one of those everybody in this room has spent some time in Austin, and it was one of those events where I saw the opening act and was just so blown away. It was kind of like, I can't imagine what the headliner is going to be like. It was just, sometimes opening acts can be a little bit hit or miss, And so I was thinking, who would be the perfect person to have on the lunch and lounge session? And I thought, that woman I saw open for Shaky Graves, she would be amazing. And about a week ago, I just opened up to the music section of the Chronicle, and there she was, Phoebe Hunt, staring right back at me because I couldn't remember her name, and I said, oh, and there she was staring right back at me. So we connected, and only 2 days. It was the power of the universe.
Yeah,
brought us together once again. But one of the songs that you did with your sister that I thought was really terrific, and I kind of know it's not the refrain, it's kind of like a bridge, but it's this fee fi fo flum song.
Yeah,
I know that's not the name of it, but maybe you can play that one. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Yeah, this one's my wacky one, but I kind of feel like it's my Janis Joplin impersonation at the same time, but also I wrote it in 2 different places. I wrote it when I was in Switzerland, and I had been in India. So I went to India, did this amazing.
Girl, you get around.
This was 2013, and I went to India and did this amazing service work with this group from Austin called the Amala Foundation, and was on this journey of a lifetime, just exploring my inner depths and understanding humanity in this new way. And then my boyfriend, who's now my fiance, but was my boyfriend at the time, was on a tour with a band in Germany, and him and his mom had both convinced me that I should go from India to Germany before coming back to America because it's on the way home. And I listened to that advice, even though I really wanted to stay in India because I was loving it so much. And I went to join this tour. And when I got on to the tour, the promoter was very German, and he did not want me to be there because I wasn't on the contract. So he didn't have insurance liability for me. So he was like, you cannot be here, no. So I had traveled for 72 hours, taken 4 rickshaws, a train, 3 trains, 2 airplanes, been in Dubai, blah, 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 hadn't slept, was totally at that, carried all this stuff running, and got there at 7 in the morning after making the wrong train. It was just really an intense travel situation, and I get there, and then the promoter's just like, you must absolutely leave. The train station is right there. And that's all he said to me. I was like, you're sweet. I started crying. But anyway, I figured out, I had a friend that I had visited the year before in Switzerland because one of my very best friends was living in Switzerland the year before, was this painter, but now she was not there anymore, but she had hooked me up with this friend there that was in Zurich that was actually like the president of couch surfing in Zurich, and he was super cool, so I just Facebook messaged him, hey, this is an wireless thing. I just Facebook messaged him from like the backstage of the show at my boyfriend's band's show, and was like, I'm kind of stuck in Switzerland for 2 weeks. And he was like, you can stay with me, no problem. There's this thing called an open mic night. We'll go to that. Like, you're cool. And then I was like, maybe I can busk. So I figured out a way to, like, create this little busking elfin outfit. Because I was, like, out of cash, basically. And I had spent all my money on travel. And I was, like, planning on just being on the road with these guys. But now I need to figure out how to live for just at least 2 weeks in Switzerland. So I figured out I could busk on the streets. But it's, like, Christmas time. And so it's really cold outside. So I bought this little elfin costume and, like, fingerless gloves that I cut off the fingers and stuff. And I made this little elfin costume, and I met this guy at that open mic night who ran a Glühwein stand and was like, hey, I know this guy who runs a Glühwein stand and makes crepes, and you could and he loves musicians. I'm sure he would love it if you stand there and play. And so I bought this little like tin that was like blue with silver sparkly stars on it, and I brought it to the Glühwein stand, and he gave me free crepes and Glühwein every day, and I made friends with him, and I had all this epic adventures at the Glühwein stand for the next 2 weeks. And that's my story. And when I was on the train one of the days, getting to the Glühwein stand, I wrote this song. Oh, then the second half of the song, I wrote the chorus. No, some of the story. Then in Austin the next year when I was at the ACL Fest, I was watching Gillian Welch in the stage, the big gospel stage area, you know, the one that's covered. And I was just like chilling out and watching Gillian Welch. And she did that song where she goes like, to the horses one, you know, and she does the galloping thing on her thighs. And I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden I was like, flee, fly, flow, flum. So I left her show and I went out into the area, and I had my little journal I always have my little journal with me. And I just started writing down. I was like, oh, this is that song I was writing in Switzerland. Long story. But it's called Flee, Fly, Flow, Flum, and that's how I wrote it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, hold on. 2, 3, 4. I'm standing on the corner between Consequence and Clover. There's an apple cart ahead, and I have yet to turn it over. Put my weight upon the one foot, and the left one took its place. Spent a day or 2 out walking before I came upon your face, and I said, flee, fly, flow, flum. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Well, Consequence had changed into a street made out of fool's gold. Like in a fairy tale, I thought, now how my wish has come true. Face to face, your words of wisdom, like a freight train knocked me down. By and by, you got me talking. I give it all up to you. And I said, flee, fly, flow, flow. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Where did you come And on my way to find you, I got caught behind a train, and I gave you room to get away again. Now I am standing on a corner with a tin box and a prayer. I know St. Peter is out there somewhere. He is wishing me well, but I lately fly, flow, flown. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Where did you come from? And I said, where do I belong?
Phoebe Hunt, everyone. Beautiful. Almost as beautiful with a nod to your sister. Almost as beautiful as it was with your sister at playing duet.
Nothing's quite as beautiful as it is when you're with your sister.
So you come from a musical family, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little background. How'd you come to find the violin, the fiddle, and how did you kind of start on this musical journey? I mean, what was it? Do you remember where you thought to yourself, music's my life, and I'm heading down this trail?
Well, when I was 6 years old, I was sitting at the Austin Montessori School, which is where I went to elementary school. I was at the picnic table there, and I was eating lunch. And this woman came up to me from behind, and she tapped me on my shoulder, and she said, "It's time for you to get sized for your violin." And I looked at her, and I said, "Does my mom know?" And she said, "Yep, she told me to come get you." And I said, "Great." And so I followed her, and she sized my arm, and I was a 1/16 size violin, and she was my teacher for the next 9 years, Marcia. I love Marcia. And I didn't ever realize I was going to, do music as a profession at that point. But my dad is an amazing guitar player. He's classically trained guitar player who has both his undergrad and master's degree in classical guitar performance, and he studied with Segovia in Spain. So it was always music at the house, and Dad practices more than any musician I've ever met still. Like, he plays like 8 hours a day now still, and every day. Even when he worked a real job, he'd come home and he'd be on the guitar, and he had a little recording studio in his back room, and he was always playing music. And whenever we went to a party as a family, my dad was there, and he has this book. He has 2 books, one A through M and like M through Z, of all these covers, and he can play like any song, and he's the guy at the party playing, and I would bring my fiddle and I'd jam with him, and then I'd go play with my friends, and then I'd come jam with him a little and play with my friends. And so I've just always grown up playing the music. And from Suzuki into kind of learning string quartets, and I had a string quartet in high school called Acoustic Dreams String Quartet, and we played at weddings, and we probably played like 50 weddings in high school. While I was in high school, and I was like, I'm never getting married. and then orchestras and symphonies, and then I started playing in kind of folky bands with like singer-songwriters.
Because there's a point at which the violin
becomes
a fiddle, right?
Yeah. When I started playing with like singer-songwriters, I was like, I'm supposed to sound like a fiddle now. So I went to the Mark O'Connor fiddle camp for the first time when I was like 22 or 20, I don't know, at the end of college, because I was playing with this folk band in town, and I thought I needed to learn how to play the fiddle. So I went to this camp and started learning.
And the Mark O'Connor camp, I mean, that's like going to... right.
blow your mind. Like, his staff is basically like the greatest fiddle player of each genre. So you have like Johnny Gimble teaching Texas swing, and this amazing violin player from India teaching like Indian classical music, and Sarah Caswell playing jazz, and these who was the Irish fiddle teacher? I don't remember who was there, but he's amazing. If you know him, you would know him, because it's like the legend.
Patrick something.
The
Sean.
legends of each type of music were the teachers, and so you're like literally learning, sucking from the teat, if you will. Like fiddle music. That's kind of the difference. Is basically that fiddle music has been passed down through lineages of musicians and families, usually through different parts of the world. So if you imagine the globe, basically the fiddle music is like the dialect of that area. So in Canada alone, there's like different dialects of how to play the fiddle. French Canadian is one of the styles, but they're all very, very different, and the nuances are just slight in the bow and in the hand. And in Ireland, obviously, there's this type of fiddle, and in Mexico, there's a type of fiddle, and like the fiddle is kind of all over the world, but it sounds different a little bit, and it's basically just the dialect of the land. It's so cool.
So from that experience, are there any songs that stand out that you think from Ireland or?
Well, what stood out to me really was the old time music. There was this guy named Bruce Molsky. He's still around, and he's one of the heroes of the tradition that's still passing that down lineage, the old time music. And he would play and sing at the same time, the fiddle and voice, and it was this mesmerizing.
So do you remember any one of those songs that you could?
Well, at that time, I was like, I want to be able to do that, but instead of learning like to play exactly like him, I just started writing songs where I'd play the fiddle to support it. And so I kind of, because I came from a classical background who kind of learned jazz and then got into fiddle a little later, I kind of just created what it would be like for me to accompany my voice with the fiddle, if that makes sense. So I could play a fiddle tune. That'd be fun. Yeah, I feel
Okay.
I hadn't thought about that. Or I could just straight improvise, which is also fun. I'm just gonna play. Can I just play for y'all?
Go ahead and play.
Because lately, my very favorite thing has just been to just play, and kind of literally just to kind of tap into the room, the vibes, and kind of play people's songs.
So you go ahead and play, and then I'm gonna hit you with a curveball when you're done.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna play. Where do I start? I'll start with you.
Wow, that was beautiful. Beautiful. And what I think was really so wonderful about that is that you could hear throughout kind of that whole potpourri of influences. You know, there was some Irish jump music in there. There was some classical music in there. There was some sort of Appalachian folk sound in there. It was a little bit of everything. Look at, she wears the woman of 1,000 faces, the woman with 1,000 violins. So,
have y'all heard that song? It's a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Who's that band? Dawes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what I just remembered when he said that.
I love that song. Any event. So your influences, I'm curious to hear what your influences are, because having done my own study of your music over the past, say, 24 to 36 hours, you kind of walk, I think, quite gracefully this line between folk, singer-songwriter, and even some jazz vocals. And so if you were to, pick a handful of who your influences are, like when you think back on how you got your started, you want to sound like this, you wanted to sound like this person or that person, or write songs like that person, who do you come back to?
Yeah, I think I definitely started out with kind of the Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald. We grew up listening to old jazz in my house, and also we grew up listening to old classical music, and also grew up listening to folk music, James Taylor and Carole King, and Bonnie Raitt is definitely someone I'm influenced by and want to be like when I grow up. And who else? I mean, on the violin, there's Stefan Grappelli and Joe Venuti and Stuff Smith, and I want it to sound dirty, and I want it to sound raunchy, and I want it to sound clean, and I want it to sound sincere, and I want it to feel like it. Basically, for me, the ultimate is just to come straight from my heart and not to try to sound like anyone else anymore, though I've been influenced by everyone I've ever met, if that makes sense. And I think musically, and then there's Ray Charles, and there's, then there's Bob Dylan, of course, and Bob Marley, of course, and
it all goes into the pot.
It all goes into the pot, yeah, and it just comes out. Since I've been playing my violin for so long, it's cool because I just feel like I get to tap into it a little bit now, and lyrically, I just follow whatever is kind of being directed to me. Those things kind of just pop in, little lyrics, and then I just try to follow that daisy chain, if you will, and give that time. Have you ever heard Liz, what's her last name? The woman who wrote Eat, Pray, Love?
Gilbert.
Elizabeth Gilbert. She did a TED Talks, and it's on inspiration, and she talks about the genius and then the kind of the ego, and like the kind of the genesis of the word genius. And so genius, when we take credit for it ourselves, kind of puts us in a box, but when you allow yourself to understand that genius really comes from outside of us and outside of each one of us, and each one of us like has a little genius that kind of can tap into who we are, and we can kind of play out their experience. Like the genius can talk to us and tell us what to do, and then we give them the credit. Then we're able to kind of go outside of that box
and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So there's some folk in there, there's some jazz, but in scouring YouTube, I also found a newer video that's sort of a Phoebe Hunt version of a popular British pop song, which I found really wonderful, and that's your curveball. So Phoebe Hunt's version of Price Tag.
I haven't learned too many covers in this fiddle vocal thing, but I did learn Jessie J's song Price Tag. Cool. And I added a little rap in the middle that I wrote myself. I'm going to stand up for this one.
Oh boy, it's a stander.
I wish I could go completely wireless. I could go completely wireless. I just need to rent the gear. I didn't bring it today. Whoop. Whoop. How's that? Okay.
This thing kind of goes down and up. I don't know which is better, but I kind of like it up a little bit more. Okay. I know you from somewhere. Woodstock. Hey, is that what you said? Okay. I know you from Woodstock. I went there one time. I know Colorado. I love Colorado. Seems like everybody's got a price. I wonder how they sleep at night. When the sale comes first and the truth comes second, just stop for a minute and smile. Why is everybody so serious, acting so damn mysterious, with the shades in your eyes and your heels so high that just can't even... I just realized I'm doing this in a different key than I originally do it in, but I'm going to do it in my normal key. It's like something is different. Half a step. Seems like everybody's got a price. I wonder how they sleep at night. When the sale comes first and the truth comes second, just stop for a minute and smile. Why is everybody so serious, acting so damn mysterious, with your shades in your eyes and your heels so high that you can't even have a good time? Everybody look to the left, now everybody look to the right. Can you feel that? We're paying with love tonight. It's not about the money, we don't need your money, we just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag, ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching, not about the bling, bling, want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. We need to take it back in time, when music made us all unite. And it wasn't low blows and video hoes. Am I the only one getting tired? Why is everybody so obsessed? Money can't buy us happiness. Can we all slow down and enjoy right now? Guaranteed we'll be feeling alright. Everybody look to the left, now everybody look to the right. Can you feel that? We're paying with love tonight. It's not about the money, we don't need your money, we just wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag, it ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching, not about the bling, bling, wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. Here's the time when I ask you all to close your eyes. And if you want, you can even sit up straight. You see, I feel the beat through my body when I close my eyes. I let it rise from the bottom where my feet touch the street to the top where it knocks off my great disguise. Come on everybody, close your eyes and feel the beat through your body like a ray of light. And we'll glow in the fire that warms the night. And we'll all blend together, singing our song, and the party won't stop all night long. It's not about the money, we don't need your money, we just wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag, it ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching, not about the bling, bling, wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag, forget about the price tag.
I think Jessie J would be quite flattered by that cover.
Maybe she'll hear it.
So, among the things you use your phone for, you have a Kickstarter campaign going on. Tell me about your Kickstarter campaign, what that's all about, and where people can find it.
Sure. Well, besides touring around and playing my own music as an artist, I also have been working in collaboration with a nonprofit organization out of Austin called the Amala Foundation for the last 3 years, and helping them to create a music program that gives the voice of their of what they do, music. And what they do is they have all these incredible programs for teenagers that are from all around the world. Some of them are refugees and immigrants and at risk, but some of them are not at risk, and they're just all humans that are come together and learn about how peace begins within. And basically, there's a program called the Global Youth Peace Summit. Well, following that, I've created the One Village Music Project, where we unite the teen musicians from this summit that are interested in playing music, and we come together for a week, and we do like an Iron Chef for teen musicians of how to write, collaborate, record, have teamwork, learn skills like offering feedback for creative ideas, sharing creative ideas, having collaboration go on. And how do you work like that? Especially when you're from all around the world, you have different language sets, you have different skill sets, you have different levels of musicianship, and you're just wanting to have the same purpose, which is to share this message of unity through music. And we've come together for the last 2 years, and each year we've made a full-length album in 1 week. The first album we did, we called Precious Human Life, which was named after a Dalai Lama song, a Dalai Lama poem that we put to music called Precious Human Life. And that album actually made it into the hands of the Dalai Lama last year. And then last year we expanded the program and we did 2 week-long programs, one in California and one in Austin. And at each program we wrote music, and we now have a 10-song album that I just sent to mastering literally at the coffee shop before I came over here today. I got the ISRC codes and the UPC codes, and using my wireless networks at the coffee shop was able to send that to the mastering engineer, and now that's going into print. And literally I have 10 more days. My goal is raising $50,000 so that this program can be completely sustainable in its own self. For the last 3 years, we've been doing it on literally favors and financial fumes, and beyond traveling and touring as a musician myself, it's a lot. It's been a lot of work, and it's definitely worth doing. But what's really cool is about this Kickstarter campaign, what's happened to help raise these funds is that all these amazing musicians that are my friends have donated a private show to the Kickstarter, and so someone can buy a private show, which then they can throw a party and have a bunch of friends come over and we call it the One Village Music Project parties. And so Shaky Graves donated a show, Marsha Ball, Carolyn Wonderland, Shelley King, Guy Forsyth, the Jitterbug Vipers. Then there's some bands from Nashville, Della Mae, 10-String Symphony. There's a band from Colorado, Grisman, Leslie Hargraves, and Smith. There's 17 bands who have donated shows to this, and I am right now talking to like 12 different people who are wanting to buy them. So right now, our Kickstarter is at like $11,000, but I'm literally talking to people that are about to buy these shows, and it's about to, think we're about to get our goal. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're like, I want one of these private parties, buy it, because literally they're going to go, I think, really quick.
So people can find it on Kickstarter, and they would look for the One Village Music Project.
You can also just go to my website, Phoebe Hunt Music, and it's right there on the front page. But One Village Music Project, and it's about uniting teen musicians from all over the world and sharing music that is from heart-centered place and collaboration.
So are there any songs that you might be able to do that are part of that you've
written
maybe developed or written through the One World Project?
One Village Music Project. Let's see. That's okay. Well, we write them all as a team, and I literally just sometimes play the violin behind, the songs. So let's see if I can think of one. There's one that I wrote this year. I wrote it on the guitar, and I've never played it on just the fiddle and sung it. I could try that for y'all. I mean, I'm just always down.
Good.
I don't know. I haven't done it ever like this before, or haven't sung it in a really long time. It could be a bad idea.
But we don't.
It's called "Write It Down." I'll just sing it for you, a little chorus.
Okay.
This is a song that I wrote with the group last year, and it's basically about when you get a creative idea, just share it. And it goes, write it down right away, whatever it is you're wanting to say, or it may never be heard. On a stage of one who sings, say the words as they come, you and them become one. Take the time to let it out and you will be free. 'Cause I am you, you are me, what lightens you helps me to see. If I am listening, I can hear the truth. There's nothing left for me to prove. My eyes see inside of you. And I feel your pain, I hear your call, and I'll hold it all. So scream it out, even if you're wrong. I know your people have a song, and it may never be heard. On a stage of one who sings, I am big, and my heart can hold the ocean or hold a spark. And I know you can hold one too. I see you listening to me. 'cause I am you. You are me, what lightens you helps me to see. If I am listening, I can hear the truth. There's nothing left for me to prove. My eyes see inside of you. And I feel your pain, I hear your call. It's the refrain of one and all. No need for pain, nowhere to fall. I'll hold it all.
Not bad for not having sung it before and not having a guitar. Beautifully done. So why don't we finish out with a song that I've been kind of grooving to for the past few days.
I bet I know what you're talking about.
Okay, why don't you start and I'll tell you which one. That's the one.
It's also a sing-along if y'all want to do it.
So this is Sugar, Phoebe Hunt.
Uh-huh, that's all you have to do. Uh-huh. Yeah. You can't bake a cake without a little sugar. There's plenty of it hanging round the lemonade stand. If he ain't being sweet, listen to my plan. And add a little sugar to your man. Uh-huh, huh, uh-huh, huh, uh-huh, huh, uh-huh. I went to the doctor on 53rd and Main to tell him how my man had gone sour. Ooh, I asked him what to do. Girl, what did he say? He said a little bit of sugar goes a long, long way. You can't bake a cake without a little sugar. There's plenty of it hanging round the lemonade stand. If he ain't being sweet, listen to my plan. And add a little sugar to your man. The sugar didn't seem to work none, so I tried a little honey in its place, but my man still tasted salty, so I poured the whole damn bag in his face. You can't bake a cake without a little sugar. There's plenty of it hanging round the lemonade stand. If he ain't being sweet, listen to my plan. And add a little sugar to your man.
Beautiful. Well, Phoebe, thank you for warming up a cold and dreary, wet Austin day with your songs.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. This has been a production of RCR Wireless TV. My name is Chris Martin. We've had the pleasure of having our Luncheon Lounge with Phoebe Hunt. And stay tuned. We're going to have lots more happening here in the lounge in the coming weeks. So thank you. You can find us on the web at rcrwireless.com.
Thanks, Chris, and thank you guys all for coming today.
Let's give it up for Phoebe Hunt. The RCR ATX Studio Lounge comes to you from Studio E at RCR TV headquarters in Austin, Texas. To get in touch with Chris, to suggest guests, or to just say hi, you can reach him on Twitter at cmartinofATX. And for the latest news on all things wireless, head over to rcrwireless.com.